Now I've gone through two things you should hear. That's a cycle of fifths and chromatics. Chromatic lines. So cycle of fifths and chromatic lines. Now depending on the genre, or what I call the dialect, the difference between Thelonious Monk and the things that came before him is that, because Thelonious, if you get the solo stuff of Monk, solo Monk and those things, where he does the Ellington songs and those things, he plays them beautifully, and he just strides with one note bass into the chord and around. Now, but when he does his own kind of songs, he uses a lot of chromatics. For example, when we went over the other thing where it was, where it was, it begins to tell around midnight, right? So that was like your C minor chord. It begins to tell around midnight, right? It goes from C major to, it begins to tell to the minor, around midnight, right? Around midnight, the D7 down to G7, that's the cycle of fifths you hear. Then it goes to the C minor, ba, 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 to the F7. Now normally it would go da, da, that kind of thing, but he goes up a half step chromatically, and then back down a half step, which leads to the G minor. So you have to start hearing the different dialects and different genre. Thelonious Monk has a different dialect than Jelly Roll Morton or Duke Ellington or some of the others. Now Duke will have similar things. He does a lot of very interesting cycle of fifths things where he does the tune Prelude to a Kiss. He starts on a D7 chord. Look, here's that D7 chord, and it's going to G, and it's going to C, and it's going to F, right? He does the same thing, but his melody is up on the B. It's up on what would be the 6th or the 13th if you extend it out. The 6th becomes the 13th if it has 7ths and things under it. It becomes called a 13, but it's really a 6th in the scale, but it becomes a 13 when you add it up and go all the way up to 13. So what he's doing is playing that melody, bring it down a half step, then he's going to the G7, which becomes a G9, because that melody is the 9th, is the A. So he goes to the G9 to the G flat 9 in the melody, and that which is the same as diminished chord. Flat 9 chord the same as a diminished chord. Flat 9. We'll get into the diminished and the flat 9s later. But he goes D7 da, G9 da, C7 da da da. It's an F major 7 chord. If you play the C on the bottom open, it's like an A minor chord, but if you actually put the F under it, it's an F major 7 chord because it has F, the A, it skips the C in this way, and hits the E, which is the major 7 tone. It's a half step down. The major 7 tone is a half step down from the octave. That's a major 7. So if you go, there's the 6th, and then you go down to this or this. Now he goes up and starts on a B7, E7, right? A7, D minor, F9, G7, C with a 9 on top, a C chord with a straight 9 on the top of it. That would be your C chord, and then to a D13 chord because it's got the C, the 7 in it, and it's got D root 7, 3rd, and the 6th, which would be with those other notes in it, with those 7s and things in it, it becomes a 13. So it's like 70s. A C with a D on top, and then the D7 with the 13th. You know, it just keeps doing stuff like that. It just keeps moving the cycles. But Duke's dialect is a little different than it was when they were writing pop tunes like Lazy River, Hoagy Carmichael's Lazy River, and those kind of tunes. The dialect is a little different. You get used to the dialect a little different. He's got modern melodies over the top. He's got notes that are interesting notes over the top of the thing. So Duke's dialect is a little more modern. When you get to Monk, his dialect is quite a bit more modern because he's got a lot of chromatic things and things that are up a half step from where they should be, and then they come down the half step, whatever. So those are the different dialects of different people, even right in the jazz genre.